So Simon, you talk about the first phase of brain-friendly selling as the consideration phase. So can you explain that for us?
Yeah, sure. I suppose it's another way of talking about being planned and prepared, but being considerate of the person that you're going to see. So I think, you know, particularly in our modern internet at the fingertips phase, you must do your research on the customer's industry, on their business, or on them as a person, you know, in business to business, say via LinkedIn, but also, you never know, via social media, things like that. Also considering, what do you need to take with you? Have you got all the kind of collateral, the things? What's the customer likely to ask you? How are you going to be able to respond to those questions? So kind of my standard is you should be able to answer 95% of a customer's questions on the spot in that meeting, with maybe a small number of, if it's a technical question, going back to maybe one of your technical team has to answer that question. So you really need to show that you know your product inside or your service inside out, because if for example, through a lack of say product knowledge, you ask me a question and as a salesperson I hesitate because I don't know the answer, you might misread my hesitation as that I don't believe in my product or service myself, and at an emotional level in the brain that might cause you to become slightly uncomfortable, and you're going, does this guy actually believe his product or service is any good? And that might then create a real barrier. So you've got to be thoroughly planned and prepared. Buyers now have very short time available in the diary, so you need to be respectful and considerate of that and make sure you're absolutely planned and prepped, have considered all the things before you go in. It maximises your success.
And interesting, because you're very prepared. To what extent then does a salesperson, how do they use this? Because what I mean is you can go in very prepared and almost assume too much, can't you?
Absolutely.
Is it that you're prepared but you still ask the questions, so you're not telling the customer, oh well I saw that so I know this already?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I will normally say something like, well Grant, I was taking a look at your website as you might expect, and I noticed X, Y, Z. I'd be really interested if you could tell me a little bit more about it. You should never ever make assumptions in the world of sales. Don't assume anything, always ask. It's just prepared to do a great job. For example, if they start to ask particular personality preference, you're going to want lots of detail, you can say, well, here's something, why don't I leave that with you and you can take a look at it, rather than, you know, I'll send something to you. It's too late. Particularly a very fast-moving world now, you know, you need to be able to get that information to them very quickly and instantly.
So it's kind of knowing what they're likely to want and need, but then still making sure you ask the right questions.
It's anticipating, not assuming. Professionals anticipate, so they're prepared. Amateurs assume, and they often get it wrong.